The X9 Ultra is an absolute powerhouse of a phone because you get dual 200 megapixel sensors, a 7050 milliamp hour battery, and you even get a dedicated sensor on the back just for color production, which is absolutely insane. It's on paper the almost perfect smartphone, but after using it for a few weeks, I have one key concern, and I guess a major issue that almost ruined the entire experience. The battery, for example, is 7050 milliamp hours, and of course it's silicon carbon, which means this is a multi-day battery even under really heavy use. So you can game on here, you can stream content, and you can take a whole host array of photos and videos, and you'll easily get into the second day. What's really weird here though is this is a 7050 milliamp hour battery, but the X9 Pro was 7500 milliamp hour battery and actually had better overall battery performance as well, which is really weird for the non-Ultra phone. Then there's gaming on the X9 Ultra. Now, you wouldn't really buy this phone for gaming, but let's touch on it anyway. You can run really high performing games, things like ZZZ, at the top graphics with 60 FPS comfortably, and it'll run incredibly well. Super smooth, no issues at all. And that's because you get a Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, and this particular model has 12 gigabytes of RAM. All that supports the high-end performance and manages gaming really, really well. Nor is the display one of the driving forces of the X9 Ultra, even though it's a 2K 144Hz panel and delivers incredibly detailed quality. Streaming content in here or just using the phone, everything looks crisp, well detailed, and it's a genuinely great display. No issues here at all. That 144Hz is reserved primarily for certain apps and games, but daily you'll use 120Hz. Technically speaking, you don't really notice a difference, but that isn't the focus either. The sole focus is actually the tagline that Oppo accompanied the release of this phone with, and that is your next camera. And this is where the wow moment comes, but also the big issue. Now, the big issue is actually this. And it's a controversial take, but it's the Hasselblad Earth Explorer kit that I find to be the biggest issue, because here the idea is you take your 3x telephoto to a 13x optical zoom. Sounds great, and the output, as you'd expect, is stellar, rich and detailed, and almost lossless image with great dynamic range and color retention as well. But to use a telephoto kit, you have to accompany it with a case, which adds a lot of weight on top of a pretty beefy phone anyway. Then you add the additional 300mm telephoto lens on top, and you're creating an even greater, more heavier package. The lens itself is stunning, beautifully built, super premium design, but combined, you're sort of losing the focus of what actually a phone is. So for extended periods of time, this setup right here becomes incredibly uncomfortable and heavy to use because you're adding significant weight to a pretty big package. And the main thing I would say is, if this is your setup for your daily, you're not a casual user of a phone's camera. You're probably trying to replicate a dedicated camera system, such as what we have here on a professional mirrorless imaging sensor. We use a Sony a6700, which actually costs the same as this. And that will take a better overall image, a more detailed image, and it is far more variable in what it can do versus this total setup. Smartphone imaging and moment capture has always been about a simple point and click and you're good to go right away. This setup right here dilutes that really far down and becomes a massive inconvenience, because when I used this in the time that I did, I had to carry a bag with me to house the lens inside, and because you want to protect the lens as much as possible, you're going to have to take something with you to carry in that bag to make sure there's no damage to the actual lens itself, and that again creates more inconvenience than it does convenience and eliminates the smartphone phone aspect of this setup totally. Now, one thing I want to touch on is, again, Oppo's tagline of camera in your pocket. This isn't it. This is a deliberate, pre-planned setup, and personally, I would never ever recommend anyone ever buying this. Away from all that, wow moments are there on the normal setup of this X9 Ultra with the best overall camera system on any phone with the Vivo X300 Ultra, I say, because the main lens here is a Sony LYT 901 200 megapixels with 1/1.2 inch, and it's the largest ever 200 megapixel sensor fitted to a phone. And the sensor is actually smaller, technically speaking, aperture-wise, inside versus the X8 Ultra. This is a brighter f1.5. Now the images produced here will with really good results, real depth and character, and there isn't any overall aggressive processing either in the day. The output is excellent with sharp details, wide dynamic range, and excellent colors, and autofocus is at 13 centimeters roughly, give and take. Low light is again excellent, clean shots in dark conditions, and again no over processing. Regardless of lighting, you will notice a small processing delay when you capture an image. It's tiny, but it is there. Video on the main lens is again excellent. 8K 30 FPS, 4K 120, both have a nice natural bokeh to them, and none of that feels artificially processed in any way either. Alongside that 200 megapixel main sensor, you get another 200 megapixel 3x periscope telephoto at 70 millimeters, which again is the largest in any phone. At 70 millimeters, you cannot fake the background separation that this lens produces. It creates stunning depth in all photos, and there is no overprocessing. It retains that same Hasselblad color science, and details are again sharp and very, very good. The minimum focus distance here is 15 centimeters, and it does deliver exceptional results with excellent detail, and still manages to add depth to the image as well as natural looking bokeh. Low light performance here, much like the main lens, is crisp, detailed images, handles various lighting conditions really well, and there again is no noise. The main and 3x telephotos are on par in terms of quality and how well they retain detail. In video, you can actually use a 70mm lens. If you double tap on an object and pull it in and around, it will actually stay within focus. Amazing for video production. What's even crazier is if you pull this out of frame and pull it back in, it will still maintain that exact same focus lock, which for vloggers, for people doing product demonstrations or amateur photography and video, game changer. There is another 50 megapixel sensor on the back, and this is a 10x periscope telephoto at 230 millimeters, which uses the Samsung JNL 1/2.75 inch sensor. Now this is the first 10x we've seen since the S23 Ultra. This again is the largest sensor used for a 10x camera, and at that 230 millimeter focal length, if you're looking for action shots, you may find they look soft if you capture them non-moving subjects such as buildings, landscape, wildlife, then the quality is excellent. Really detailed and crisp, no digital mess. However, anything beyond 30x, you'll start to see some softness kick in, especially as you look and kick further up the focal length. For a 30x and lower, you get in a really good image and performance. Then the ultra-wide, 50 megapixels again, with a 40mm focal length and f2.0 aperture, and it's a Sony Lighter 600. It's a huge leap forward versus previous gens, and although it is the weakest of the lenses here, it still produces stunning, great results, and there is no weird distortion. It's not as good as the X300 Ultra, which we are doing a camera test comparison, so check out that video really soon. Up front, the sensor is again 50 megapixels, and it's a 21mm with f2.4 and uses a Samsung JN5. Excellent sharpness here, good dynamic range, and skin tones are almost great with really well maintained. Video can be captured at 4K 60 FPS as well, which means if you wanted to vlog on this, you can do that as well. So it'll look really, really good front and rear. 2 weeks, and this is the best total camera system I have used to date. One thing I did want to touch on is OS. It is the most refined, the most enjoyable to use, with the most complete array of AI features to boot as well. And the way this has evolved has been incredible. The X9 Ultra, I think, is possibly the best camera phone I've ever used, will be likely the best phone in 2026, and I don't see it really being beat. I would say though, if you're looking to buy one and you really want the Hasselblad teleconverter kit, I probably would dissuade you not to use that. If you had to have it, fine, you will get really good images out of it. But let us know in the comment section your thoughts on what we think of the Hasselblad kit and the X9 Ultra. Until the next one, as always, be out.